So I feel like not enough Americans have any idea what's going on between us and Iran because American media fails to give historical context and they just use lightning words like war, Iran, Middle East, bombs, missiles. And I'm like, okay, Queen. Sure. So I'm going to explain it in a way that makes sense, and I'm going to tell the truth. So the government that runs Iran today exists partly because of something that we did decades ago. So back in 1953, Iran actually had a democratically elected government, meaning that their people voted for their leader the same way that we do. But that government tried to take control of its own oil instead of letting foreign companies like us profit from it. And the United States was like, and we overthrew them. So we replaced their democracy with a dictator called the Shah. And this happened whether the people of Iran liked it or not. And hint, they didn't like it. But the CIA had essentially looked at Iranian democracy and said, yeah, we're going to go ahead and get rid of that. We can't have that. So for the next couple of decades, the Shah ruled Iran. Sorry if you see me itching myself. There's mosquitoes out here. But the Shah ruled Iran with U.S. backing until 1979 when the Iranian Revolution happened. So basically huge uprising. The people overthrew their government and finally removed him and created the government that Iran has today. So I know what some people are going to say. Some people are going to be like, but Iran's leadership today is oppressive. So isn't this a good thing that we're going to war with them? No. War is never good. Okay? It's not our jobs to be Captain Savo, first off. But yes, Iran restricts women's rights. They crack down on protests, political opposition. That's real. That's not propaganda per se. But what's important is that their government exists today, coming out of a 1979 revolution, which only happened because we overthrew their democracy and replaced it with a dictator. Why are we leaving that part out? When people are like, oh no, the United States had to step in because Iran's leadership is bad. Well, the political conditions that created that leadership were heavily shaped by our intervention. So in other words, the United States isn't solving a problem that just appeared out of nowhere. We're intervening in a situation that we helped create decades ago that has now gotten essentially out of hand. And so now all these countries that are allied are all for 45 years or have been doing what political scientists call regional tension, where it's like this long standoff where we fight indirectly through sanctions, cyber attacks, proxy groups like terrorists, occasional strikes, instead of a full-on war. But now we fast forward to today and we go, Israel and Palestine. Iran financially and militarily supports groups that oppose Israel. So we've got Hamas and Hezbollah. United States is Israel's biggest military ally. So we fund and supply a lot of Israel's military power, if not all of it. So every time fighting breaks out, the US and Iran do this thing where they're like, no, I'm not talking about you, bitch. I'm not talking about you, when they're clearly talking about you. But instead of talking, it's missiles. So what you end up with is three overlapping conflicts at the exact same time. We've got the United States and Iran, Israel versus Palestinian groups, and a broader regional power struggle essentially in the Middle East. Basically, different countries are competing for power and influence in the region. So when Iranian officials are on the news saying, we don't want to negotiate with the United States, we don't want a ceasefire, we're ready for you, you should be scared. And this is not Iraq in 2003. My father fought Operation Iraqi Freedom and we still got our asses kicked because small does not equal weak. Iran is one of the largest militaries in the region and huge missile capabilities and terrain that makes invasion an absolute nightmare. So in other words, if we do go to war, it will get ugly fast. And really we already have, because matter of fact, if you made it this long in the video, the United States media is underreporting the amount of American casualties that are happening right now. I know they said something about 6 American deaths. Girl, try hundreds. Hundreds. Go watch international news and see what they are saying is actually happening. Do not trust American news. You are Democratic or Republican. You are feeding into propaganda. I'm going back inside, but it's a lot worse than you think.